What is up, everyone? It is John. Welcome to Border Rivals, and I'm here with my co-host Zach.
How's it going?
And we didn't do a stream last week for a couple reasons. Main reason, this old boy here was on vacation.
Yep.
So, how was your trip?
We basically went to Florida for a weekend for hot dogs and mac and cheese.
And to gloat a little bit, right?
Yeah, I did wear Tennessee stuff almost the entire time I was there.
I don't blame you.
Till we, had to leave because of Hurricane Ian. So, but yeah, we went on vacation, expected to spend the whole week, and we got there Saturday, probably about 4:30, and then came back. We left there Monday at 1:30. So didn't go as planned, thanks to the hurricane. But we were staying right there in Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. So
it's a good thing you did get out.
Yeah. So I'm glad we got out, but it was kind of a damper.
Yeah. Oh, I imagine. And much prayers and thoughts to the people in Florida, of course.
Definitely.
It looks like it was pretty rough. It was really bad. But the subject that we're here to speak of, which is University of Tennessee, Kentucky athletics and beyond, y'all had a bye week. But let's talk about the week before. We didn't get to stream last week. We didn't get to talk about last week.
Okay.
Tennessee's big victory over the Gators.
I'm relieved. I'm relieved to get out of there with a win. I was way more confident before the game.
Yeah.
And then just all the things that have happened over the years kind of came back to memory. All the backup quarterbacks that we've turned into Heisman-looking candidates. And we kind of did that again. I mean, Anthony Richardson, who had not thrown a touchdown pass all season long, what did he throw, 3? I had the stats in front of me earlier, but yeah, he had like 453 yards of total offense. I mean, he had a career day against Tennessee, and we still snuck out with a win. But even you and I were texting, and Tennessee was up by 17, and I was like, man, I just don't feel good about this. And he's like, well, you should. You're up by 17. And then before I knew it, it was 5, and Anthony Richardson's winding up to throw the end zone.
Yeah, that kick, that onside kick. Yeah, I didn't watch the game, but I saw the highlights, and my first thought was, my God, I'd like to been a fly on the wall at your house when that happened, because I know how I would feel if I was in that position.
Yeah.
And but hey, you got the win. You finally beat Florida, got that monkey off the back.
Yeah.
4-0
for at least this year.
Top 10. How long has it been since Tennessee's been in the top 10?
I can't even remember. It seems like at one point when Jeremy Pruitt was here, before everybody kind of realized what a dunce he was, like we were ranked somewhere close up there, but I can't remember an exact number.
I think you all were preseason top 10.
Yeah, like a preseason.
Yeah, it's when he had that big recruiting class.
Yeah.
All that happened.
All the McDonald's bags.
All that McDonald's money, man.
Yeah.
Hey, it happens. But yeah, elaborate, man. That was a great game.
Yeah, I sat there like this. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, I was telling John before we started streaming, like maybe I'm just paranoid about it because I've seen it happen so many times, but I just never felt good about it. And Hendon Hooker had a great day. Our running backs had a great day. Our receivers had a great day. There's a lot to celebrate in the win, but I'm starting to come back down to earth a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to run down the program or anything, but if you play like that if certain parts of your team play like that against too many more people, you're not going to be top 10 for long. You're not going to be top 15 or 20. That's got to get better. That defense has got to get better.
Was there mental mistakes or was it an ability thing, you think?
Well, we're missing a starter in the secondary, Warren Burrell, which it came out yesterday or day before. He's out for the season.
Oh, it sucks.
A lot of Tennessee fans really don't like him. They don't think he's very good. I never played defensive back. In my honest opinion, defensive back is the hardest position on the field to play. Because that dude, that guy lined up across from you is probably the most athletic person in the whole world, and he knows where he's about to go. And you've got to follow him, keep your eye on the quarterback, and any run plays that may develop back there. That's a hard position to play. So I can't fault that kid at all. He plays a lot better than I ever could. But a lot of Tennessee fans really don't like him. I've even seen some people say, "Good, glad he's out for the season." I don't
like that attitude with it. Yeah.
I'm not with that either. But
you got to understand, like, you got to trust if your coaches know what they're doing. They got the best players on the field.
Yeah.
Now, these guys go against it's SEC. They're going against elite talent every single week. So, like you said, and on top of all that you said, you still got to not grab, hold, create pass interference, and good corners, man. That's hard to come by.
I think corner is one of the most highly criticized, like maybe close to par with quarterback.
Yeah.
But the difference between what you can see of a quarterback and what you can see of a cornerback or any defensive back for that matter is the camera's always watching the quarterback. You can watch him start to finish. You're only catching the cornerback as he's either not intercepting the ball or not next to whatever receiver. And Tennessee plays a lot of zone defense, so he's not always around the receiver to intercept a lot of passes or to make that tackle right away every time. It's really hard to beat down on a defensive back when you think about some of those things. And like I said, I never played defensive back. I played a little wide receiver when I was in high school, and that's as much knowledge as I have about it. But I do know that the disadvantage of that highly athletic person across from you knowing what he's supposed to be doing, where he's going, and you having to shadow him, keep your eyes towards the backfield too, to watch for any run plays or quarterback, whatever he's going to do.
Yeah.
That's difficult. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how good cornerbacks exist. That's dark magic to me.
Yeah.
So we're missing him. Would he have made that game completely different? I don't think so. It's kind of a by committee thing. But at the end of the day, Tennessee wins, and I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the season. So,
still, man, everything's wide open for Tennessee now.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to get there, but just dream with me for a second. You're 4-0 for the first time in I don't know how long. You're in the top 10. Who's your toughest opponent you got left? Georgia,
Alabama,
and in Kentucky. So that's your. I mean, if you could find a way to pull out 2 of those victories, it's going to be almost impossible to win all 3 of them, right? I mean, Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, they're almost in consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
So, let's pretend for a second you dropped Alabama, but Georgia showed they're vulnerable this week.
Yeah, they have. But, when a good team plays like that, they don't play like that.
They usually wake back up the next week. But let's just pretend for a second.
Okay.
You can steal 2 of those victories.
I'm a realistic Tennessee fan.
I know you are. But I'm an optimistic Kentucky fan, so I want to try to help you get on my level here a little bit.
Okay.
You're in the hunt.
Yeah.
You're in the hunt. Georgia's the key. Georgia and Kentucky is the 2 you want to get. You can drop the Alabama game and beat Georgia, Kentucky, and you're still playing the SEC championship. Now I hope Kentucky beats Tennessee by 40, but that's just the Kentucky fan saying the honest truth. I'm being real with you, but it's still on the table, man. You're undefeated still. You're 4-0. You're going against LSU. That's going to be tough. But if you take care of business, you're better than them.
Well,
Tennessee's the better team, and they should win the game.
I think so too. But LSU, like all SEC teams, when we have to play each other, we get up for that game. It doesn't matter who you play in the SEC.
Yep.
As long as that other team is an SEC team, you get up to play that game. And LSU is a historical program. I mean, you might say that they've had more success of anybody. I mean, they've got a rich history of success in the SEC. This is going to be one of those games that they get up for, and they have shown that they get a little better every single week. they're doing a lot of come from behind stuff though.
Mm-hmm.
And so my hope is that with as many points as Tennessee can put up in a half, maybe you can get up by it because they don't.
On them.
Yeah, they don't really score a lot. I mean, I think I'll look up the stats a little later, but what's his name? Jalen or Jaden, whatever their quarterback is.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
He averages like 180 passing yards per game, which is not good for a quarterback. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of scheme they're running and what their offense is.
He's a running quarterback. He's not as good a runner as Anthony Richardson, but he's a better thrower.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to run a little bit, but he also seems to get hurt quite a bit. And I was telling you downstairs, they were saying on the radio today that the backup QB, when he had to come in for Jaden Daniels is his name. Jaden Daniels. When the backup QB had to come in for Jaden Daniels last week against Auburn, he was like 4 for 5 with 5 passing yards.
That's weird.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. He must have had some negative plays or something. Like trying to throw out of the backfield and hit a running back.
I mean, I don't remember everything that happened, but I remember a lot of fumbles. I remember that game just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth there towards the end. I mean, Auburn didn't score the whole second half.
Auburn's terrible, man.
They are horrible.
Auburn is bad. So is South Carolina.
I read an article today where they've announced that Brian Harsin will be meeting with the media this week, and they're like, "Oh, that's good for him. Why? Why are you celebrating? He's going to talk to the media. You've got him for what, one more week? Like at the end of the season, he's gone, right? Auburn doesn't put up with this stuff.
I mean, how long's he been there?
2 years? Is this year 2?
This is either year 2 or 3. I think it's 2.
He's been there. I mean,
well, he got hired the same time Heupel did, didn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, him and Heupel got hired at the same time.
I got the orange shades on.
I know.
I did read an article today though where people are speculating that Lane Kiffin has called Auburn to say, "Hey, I could do better."
I'm going to tell you something. Lane, I think, wants out Ole Miss.
Well, yeah, he should.
Because let me tell you, not to get off the Tennessee subject, let's talk about the Kentucky game for a second.
Okay.
So let's go back 2 weeks when Tennessee played Florida. Kentucky played Youngstown State. It was kind of a one of those games where Stoops is from Youngstown. So, like, it was a big reunion.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge party afterwards, a lot of family and friends. So, and, it's an FCS team. So, they beat them 30-something to nothing. It was, nothing impressive, but they handled business, right? Yeah. And I don't think Stoops really wanted to run the score up on his hometown team.
Well, we talked about that at the beginning of the season. Yeah. He probably wouldn't.
So, but let's talk about Ole Miss. So, that was a game, top 15 matchup. Just imagine if that game, like if it was Tennessee and Kentucky playing in Knoxville or even Lexington, what kind of atmosphere would that be?
Sold out.
I mean, insane electric atmosphere. Now this game was sold out too, but you'd have 100,000 fans screaming. Like the atmosphere would be incredible, which is what I'm hoping it'll be this year when Kentucky Tennessee plays. From everyone there's about probably 30% Kentucky fans showed up for that game. And Ole Miss fans act like they could care less if they won that game. Lane Kiffin has called out multiple times because fans leave at halftime and don't come back.
I heard that.
They would the Grove, like the Grove. You've heard of the Grove, like the best tailgating in America. I really believe their fans care more about eating tailgate food. They're like, "Oh, we won, cool. Let's go back and eat."
Yeah.
It's just their fans are the most like nonchalant, like whatever. We win, we don't care. And as a coach in the SEC, it's great to coach in the SEC, but you want that fan base.
Yeah.
And he's not getting. You can tell it bothers him. Mm-hmm. That game come down to the last drive. I mean, final play.
Yeah.
Because the Levis fumble at the very end of the game. That was. I mean, but everybody just kind of walked out. No, nothing. It was quiet from every report I saw, and I'm like, that's bizarre. And Kiffin, I just feel like Kiffin, he's done a really good job there.
Yeah,
like he's really built Ole Miss to be a top 10 program.
I mean, they're number 9 right now.
Yeah, and you're winning big time games against big time teams, but I feel like it's not enough. Like he's not got that fan base support like you get at most other SEC schools. And he goes to Auburn, they start winning. You know what kind of atmosphere it is in Auburn.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the fan base, like that sounds like a real small thing, and why should that matter? But the problem is, if they're not excited while you're winning, they'll set stuff on fire when you start losing, and they'll get louder. Lane Kiffin, I mean, he deserves all the credit that he should be getting. I mean, he is a great coach. He's a great offensive mind. He's done some stupid stuff, and even as a Tennessee fan, most Tennessee fans don't like him very much. But I mean, he does deserve a lot of credit, and he is putting Ole Miss back on the map. But it's just like the rest of their following could care less. I mean, they're a baseball school, right? I mean, didn't they just win the College World Series?
I think they did,
this year? So I mean, they're a baseball school. They're hungover from that, but yeah, I kind of feel the same way. He's going to want out of there at some point if that fan base, if that program doesn't turn that around, because he's got to have their support, or when things get ugly, they'll all show up to fire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just the way that it is.
It is. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee, big win at Florida. Kentucky, that was a gut punch, man.
Yeah.
That was a gut punch. And you can look at a lot of things. You can make a lot of excuses. At the end of the day, a loss is a loss. It's tough because, did you watch the game at all?
No. Of course, being on vacation.
Yeah, that's right. You were on vacation. So the biggest thing about it was, first of all, we miss a field goal early in the game. We have a blocked extra point, and we have a botched snap on extra point. So there's 5 points left on the field right there. Twice in the fourth quarter, we have it inside the 10-yard line to win the game.
Yeah.
First fumble, I don't really fault Will Levis for that. He made the right read. It was a run pass as a read option play. So it's either hand it to Chris Rodriguez or keep it. When you watch that replay, and I've watched it several times, every linebacker bites on Chris. So he did the right play and took the ball and ran. He got the first down. And I don't know if you've seen this or anybody's talked about it. There is a blatant helmet to helmet. He got blitzed in the head with another. I mean, it was helmet to helmet.
Yeah.
As soon as it hit, the ball pops out and no call, which to the defense of the officials in real time, you couldn't tell that it was a helmet to helmet. But I mean, he got blitzed in the head. So, okay, you get hit in the head, helmet to helmet like that, I kind of say mulligan on the fumble. The second fumble, when he was going to make the pass, some people arguing that it moved 2 or 3 inches forward. The problem with that play is he held the ball way too long.
Yeah.
Stoops said in the post game he was supposed to 1-2 get the ball out. The play before that, which was, I think, the killer.
The penalty.
The penalty, the illegal motion. Now, you can make an argument. Again, I don't like to make excuses. You can make an argument. He was set for almost a second or so before he snapped the ball. He actually was set when the ball was snapped. And the other argument to that is the slot receiver can be in motion and doesn't have to be set before the play snaps. That's another thing that I didn't even know that it was a rule, but apparently your slot receiver is one of the positions that can be in motion as the ball snapped.
Okay. So I guess that makes sense for jet sweeps. And
stuff. So
I don't know all the rules on the motion stuff. I was not a motion
I don't either.
guy.
And again, guys, for y'all watching this on replay or now, we are not experts. We're just two fans that love to chat about sports. So, don't hold us accountable too much for what we say. But
you could. The complaint department's closed, though.
Yeah, and they don't care.
No.
But that throw and catch by Dane Key was amazing.
Yeah.
But it didn't count.
Yeah.
So a combination of a few bad decisions and just some luck. Ole Miss had some good luck. Kentucky had some bad luck. Things didn't go their way. I don't think it's the end of the day. It's one of those losses, though, that's you should have had it.
Yeah.
And I know you know what I'm talking about because Tennessee's pulled a lot of those where they played better majority of the game, but just could not.
Yeah.
They fell behind early and just couldn't make that final play to win it. The part that bothers me is people getting down on Will Levis. He made some mistakes. People are like, oh, he's not a first round pick. He's not a first overall pick. He's not a top 3 pick. one thing I want to say is I heard Matt Jones make this point, and I completely agree with him. NFL scouts aren't going to look at whether or not he fumbled against Ole Miss. They're going to look at his arm strength. They're going to look at his work ethic. He makes throws that nobody else in the country can make, except for maybe C.J. Stroud. I'm talking on a dime, 60 yards down the field kind of throws, and he can make those passes.
Mm-hmm.
If Barian Brown wasn't a freshman, I honestly believe he'd have made that one catch. I know you probably didn't see it. They probably didn't show highlights. There was a play where Will throws the ball about 60 yards in the air, and it's like a dime. It just, he missed the catch. It was on the receiver. And it's things like that the NFL is going to look at. It's his ability because, they proved this with Josh Allen, right? The quarterback for the Bills. Watch his senior year. He made way more mistakes than Levis made.
Yeah.
He made a lot of dumb mistakes, but the NFL looks at what is your ceiling, because we can fix the little silly stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what they look at. So I'll put my next 10 paychecks that Will's a top 3 pick in the draft.
I'm not ready to say top 3. I don't have anything against him. I don't know who else is out there, but amongst the C.J. Stroud.
Really, it's him, C.J. Stroud. Bryce Young's too small. I'm just going to say it. He's
but Kyler Murray was too small.
And I don't want to say he's too small. I don't even say he's too small for the NFL, but I'm saying they always do this. They did it with Russell Wilson. They do it with all these guys. They don't pick them as high because of their size.
Yeah.
But, there is a place for a smaller quarterback. I mean, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
They can succeed in the NFL. But when it comes to who's going to get picked early, they're looking at ability, size, work ethic. And I promise you, when he goes to those combines, he probably will be – I think he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. I honestly believe that. Now, I know he made some mistakes on Saturday, but I'll still hold me to it. Because I'm saying it now, he's still going to be the number 1 overall pick.
I still have him first round. I'm not going number 1 or even top 3. But a lot of the top 3 is just, I don't know, everyone.
Yeah.
And it's still
when I say top 3, I mean top 3 quarterbacks take.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Because I don't know what the needs are for the top 5 picks.
Sure.
Like if
they all need quarterbacks.
If the top 3 need quarterbacks, then I say he's top 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still hands down to me a top 3 quarterback. There's just some cleanup. I mean, and I don't want to make excuses for him, but this is only his second year playing. I put some of these things on coaching, but he's got to clean it. He holds one of the biggest issues he has, and one of the reasons he gets sacked so many times. He holds the ball a little too long.
Yeah,
he's trying to make the play, and he's not clicking on when he should just bail out, live to fight another day. So I think that's the biggest issues Will has. And outside of that, I mean, I think he's an amazing quarterback. He's the best quarterback Kentucky's had, and since Andre Woodson, probably the best one since Tim Couch, to be honest. So, the Kentucky fans who are hating on him need to pipe it down.
Yeah,
because this is the best quarterback we've had. If it not for Will Levis being here, we don't have Dane Key, we don't have Barian Brown, we don't have Rich. I can't pronounce his last name, but our offense coordinator. We are not where we're at without him coming in and doing the things he's done, because Wan'Dale Robinson, our great receiver last year, came to Kentucky because Will Levis came to Kentucky. That's why he transferred. He transferred because Kentucky's brought in this quarterback. Now, Kentucky has a pro system. Now, you mark my words. There's already rumors buzzing around that a major quarterback will be transferring there next year to replace Levis. They're not saying who, but
who's your hunch?
Well, at first, and this may be it, since he declared he's transferring, the quarterback from Boise State. I can't remember his name. I don't really have a hunch outside of that. Because if somebody's thinking about transferring, they're not going to say it till the season's over.
Yeah.
We're not going to know about it till the season's over. But the rumor mill around Lexington and what the scoop is that a major Power 5 quarterback will be transferring there next year, because it's the system. It's the pro-style system. So basically it fits what the pro teams are doing. It
Yeah.
started with Liam Cohen coming in last year, bringing in the Rams offense. And Rich, our new coordinator, is pretty much keeping that same offense flowing. And one of the benefits with him is he used to work with all the youth quarterbacks when he was in California with the 49ers. So he brings a lot of connections, a lot of know-how. And I tell you what, you know, I love Levis, and I think he's going to I hope he has a great career in NFL. But these young guys we got, I'm excited for the next 3 or 4 years, man.
Yeah.
With these receivers and these playmakers, I don't know if you saw, but Barian Brown made plays in that game. He returned 2 kickoffs that if it wasn't for shoestring tackles,
I think I did see a couple of
he
those.
returned 2 kickoffs inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good he is. That's how dynamic and explosive of an athlete he is. And that's just something I'm not used to seeing in the blue and white. You know, I'm used to seeing those players at Florida, Alabama, used to Tennessee.
Yeah.
With that kind of explosive playmaking. And if it weren't for Stoops and Kentucky being where they're at now, I think Barian Brown would be at Tennessee or somewhere like that. You know, because he's from Nashville, but, you know, pick Kentucky, so.
Well, that's a shame. But at least he can go to Vandy, right?
True. At least he didn't go Mississippi State.
Yeah. I'd think. God, what about them?
Dude, they better than I thought.
Whooping up on Texas A&M.
Which I think it's more Texas A&M.
I think it is, too.
Who is it? Todd McShay, I might be saying the wrong person, said at the beginning of the season they're the most overrated team probably in history.
No, Cole Kubelik said that.
That's who it was, Cole Kubelik, not Todd McShay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just.
Did you hear him chickening out with Nick Saban? They asked him about his relationship with Nick Saban, you know, after beating him last year, and then the off-season drama between them and Nick.
You're talking about Jimbo, right?
Yeah, Nick Saban saying that Texas A&M had the best recruiting class money could buy, and that made Jimbo Fisher really mad, and he started calling Nick out. So they asked him, they said, well, how's your relationship with Nick Saban? He's like, oh, Nick's a tremendous coach, and we've got a great relationship.
That's hilarious.
He's just scared. I mean, because he knows, you know, he's not going to beat him, and they're not as good as everybody said they were going to be. And that's what happens when, you know, Tennessee, we can tell you firsthand, like, your recruiting class doesn't mean anything until they get on the field and act like they're ranked.
Yeah.
So, you know, they get the best recruiting class in history, and they go from unranked to number 6. What are you doing?
I'm just adjusting. Keep talking.
We go from unranked to number 6 in the country overnight over a recruiting class of a bunch of kids that they're not going to help that team this year. It'll probably be next year or the year after. I think next year we have to play them, so I'm sure it'll be next year.
Oh, that's when they'll be the greatest team in the country.
That's how it goes. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't like Jimbo, but I did hear that some of his boosters are talking about getting together and raising $80 million to buy him out.
Now, what kind of fools give a coach an $80 million buyout?
Well, as of right now, his buyout's $95 million.
Oh
so $80 million is a discount. But you give it to him all in one lump sum, maybe he does go away. Now, do I think that's a good decision? No. I think that, you know, he ought to probably have one more year.
No, you know what I think? I think they should be stuck with him for the entire contract. That's what I think.
I'm tired of seeing him.
Hell, you know, I'm excited to see him lose.
Texas A&M strikes out as much as anybody. Look at them. They literally offered him 10 years, $10 million because they thought, like, this guy's the one. And by all, you know, all accounts, he should be.
So he had Jameson Winston at Florida State.
Uh-huh.
But you know what won them that national title? Defense. They had number 1 defense in the nation.
Uh-huh.
It was so good. You know who their defensive coordinator was?
Uh-huh.
Mark Stoops. He left there after that national title to go to Kentucky.
John's got like a whole stat sheet over there of everything Mark Stoops has ever done.
But he's the greatest coach Kentucky's ever had.
Well,
I mean, you can't. I mean, he's the winningest coach.
Yeah.
He's the greatest coach. He's done more there than I ever thought anyone could ever do. And honest to God, like he said the other day, he's like, I've built my whole recruiting premise on I will always be here for your child. And he's like, what would that do if I left? I would lose all credibility and trust. Now, granted, I mean,
they all say stuff like that.
They all say stuff like that. But I don't think it would be easy. I mean,
I don't think
LSU come calling last year and he turned them down.
Yeah, I don't think he'd leave. Why would he leave? He's got to. I mean, all he's got to do is win games.
Well,
and he's doing that.
I'll tell you, people they're starting to get a little greedy. The fan base, because you get that taste of success and winning, and they want more. Because what's the next step? Getting to the SEC championship. You can't do that by losing to Ole Miss. Well, you can, but that lessens your chances. Because now we got to win in Knoxville. We have to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
So if we could have beat Ole Miss, it's like, okay, well, we still got to get through Tennessee or Georgia.
Yeah.
Preferably, we could still lose to Tennessee, and if we can pull it upset on Georgia at home, we can get there.
Georgia's close call with Mizzou doesn't help anybody because people who only look at the scores are like, well,
no, what that shows me is there's youth, because they had to plug a lot of young players in. They're talented. They're still one of the most talented teams in the country, but that shows me that there's a lot of growing up to do. Now, how are they going to take this?
We're talking Georgia?
Yeah. So what are they going to do next week?
They're going to be fine next week.
I think they're going to get pissed out. Who are they playing?
Auburn.
Oh, poor Auburn.
Yeah.
Poor Auburn.
Yeah.
That's going to be...
Auburn has scored a total, I think they said, 6 points in the second half all season. Total.
God, I wish Kentucky played Auburn instead of Ole Miss.
I know.
Why couldn't we drew that on their schedule? We drew a top 15 team.
I wish we had Auburn instead of LSU. And I don't know how the LSU game's going to go, but I'd feel a lot more confident if it was Auburn. Now, I say that, you know what? I've noticed during the offseason, oh, man, Tennessee walks on water.
Mm-hmm.
But as we get week to week, it's like, well, that team's a little better than
now, I want to tell you,
they were.
So, like, your thoughts are a little humble and a little surprising on Tennessee, because everybody that is Tennessee is just they think Tennessee's going to the playoff, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've read stuff like that. Maybe it happens. If it happens, am I going to be surprised? Yeah, I think I would be. I think I am. It's still just so early. And when I look at who Tennessee's played so far, you've played 2 nobodies, and you've played 2 lesser but okay teams.
I think the part, I tell you, this Tennessee-Kentucky game shaping up to be, it's going to be some drama. Because, all the Tennessee people, Kentucky, after the Florida win, there was a lot of, crap talk to Kentucky. Kentucky, especially now that Kentucky's lost to Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
So the argument is, Kentucky's garbage. They're not as good as we thought they were. And it's like, so you think Tennessee's great because they beat Florida by 5 at home, but Kentucky's garbage because they beat them by double digits on the road in Gainesville.
Yeah.
So, you want to compare apples to apples. But at the same time, I know what you're thinking. It's not always, you can't compare games like that because it's always a different scenario each game.
It is.
You can't say, they beat this team by 30, so in theory they should beat you by this much.
Well, yeah, it's just like the Georgia Mizzou game.
It's a matchup
issue. If that Georgia team plays everyone the way they played Mizzou, then
they're going to lose.
They're going to lose every game they have for the rest of the season. My thing on Kentucky, I think Kentucky's a good team, and I've said that the whole time. I've never debated that Kentucky's a good team. My problem with Kentucky is that your team lives or dies on the ability and the choices that Will Levis makes, and we saw that on Saturday. But 2 fumbles, and is that his fault? No, I mean not really. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do when you're winding up to throw, and somebody hits you from the back. That's your O line. Your O line didn't block that guy well enough, and he got to the quarterback. He caused a fumble. Ole Miss wins. I read a stat earlier that he had 9 rushes for negative 19 yards. I know there's some sacks, in that too.
Yeah.
But that was like the first time since Tennessee's seen Will Levis that he's not been able to get back into the positives, even though he gets sacked a lot.
Well, the thing is, they're not design running him like they did last year.
Yeah,
he's had probably 3 all year.
Well,
last year it was a lot more design run.
That's going to have to change. I mean, that's part of his arsenal.
But what you said, they live and die by what he does. I think that's true for most teams. Like, think about Hendon Hooker. Like, if he throws 4 interceptions, Tennessee's going to lose.
Sure, but
your running backs are good, but not good enough to win you games. I don't think.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree with that. I guess for me, the difference is that Hendon Hooker's not shown any. He's not made any bad decisions.
No, and I give you that. Hendon Hooker has played. I mean, he doesn't.
He hasn't thrown an interception. He threw 3 all of last season and had.
He plays very smart.
Yeah, I mean he's absolutely killing it. He puts up video game numbers. I mean, so yeah, most teams do live and die by their quarterback. You're right. I guess I just Will Levis's decision making is so dynamic. He makes the choice to throw the long ball. He makes the choice to take off running, and he's the one fumbling the ball, and he's the one throwing the interceptions. And I mean, yeah, your entire team starts with your quarterback, so it would be very easy to plug almost any other quarterback into that role, and you're looking at the same thing. But we talked about that at the beginning of the season. I told you I thought the Kentucky season would reflect how reckless or smart Will Levis is, and he's throwing interceptions. And the fumble it's your fault because you're holding the ball, right? Yeah. But it's not always your fault. I mean, if his back is to that player, he's winding up throw the ball, and that guy hits him in the back. That's not really on him.
Yeah.
I mean, except that he held the ball too long. There is an internal clock. He should have taken off or gotten it out, whatever. But kudos to Ole Miss though for finding a defense. That seems to happen to you all a lot, right? You think you've got a game in the bag, and opposing team finds a defense for a game.
God, I reckon they did, man. You're right. But see, I think the biggest issue with Kentucky this year is, Levis has some cleanup. He's indecisive, or he holds the ball too long, and he's thrown a few interceptions. But the positives that come out of him, the positive plays he gives, I will take the negative with the positives, because he can do things other people can't. He can make throws other people can't. He can run down the field and hurdle defenders if he needs to, which I'd rather him not, because I don't want to see him get hurt.
Yeah.
But he's still an amazing athlete, and he's fun to watch. And
I agree.
like I said, he's our quarterback, and live and die by him. But the thing that bothers me is people are so quick to scrutinize and hate on him when he is a human. And I don't know. It's the instant hate for one bad game, or if he doesn't fumble like last time we win, there's no talk of any negativity. He's a Heisman candidate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to 1 or 2 plays makes the difference.
And every fan base is like that. We see it too.
The biggest problem Kentucky has as a team, is on special teams, and not the skill players. It's the snapping.
Yeah.
That's got to get fixed.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. There's been 3 field goals this year that's been screwed up by botched snaps.
Yeah.
We've had to take the safety in one game because they oversnapped the punter.
Yeah. Is that the one he kicked it back through the end zone?
That's where he kicked it back the end zone, so they didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah. Back to our talk about Will Levis. Will Levis is kind of a weird phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me next Saturday, Will Levis threw for 570 yards, I would be like, dang. But I wouldn't doubt it, because he's got a cannon, and he is accurate. He is an accurate passer. But also, in the same breath, if you said, man, Will Levis threw 5 interceptions this game, I'd be like, well, yeah.
I mean, you got a point. I mean, you're not
he's hard
wrong.
or cold. Sometimes he's both. It's very strange, but he's a playmaking QB. I like him. He is going to be an NFL QB.
Oh yeah.
How much success he has, you never really know.
It depends on his development. And
We've been trying to guess for years what kind of success people will have. Tim Tebow and Kyler Murray and all these guys. I'll bet that if you go back in time and you're looking at Lamar Jackson at Louisville, the back half of that season where he was just getting hit left and right and he didn't look very good. If you would have told people right then and there that he's probably going to be the best QB the Ravens ever saw, they would laugh in your face.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to guess successful QBs in the NFL forever, but I think that Will Levis will be an NFL QB, and you'd be silly. Like, if you need a quarterback, get him. but plan on having a good enough mentor for him and a good quarterbacks coach to sort of guide him along the way. He's going to throw interceptions and he's going to take some hits because that's what he does. But he is an NFL quarterback, I think.
You know who else took hits and threw a few interceptions and was a little reckless?
Who's that?
And he's famous for it, but by God, he's got a Super Bowl ring. Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Watch Brett Favre, man. He's
another guy that was too small.
Yeah. And people said he's reckless, he makes bad decisions, but he also won a Super Bowl and was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever played the game. Terry Bradshaw was like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of like my quarterback with a little edge. I like that he'll take a chance once in a while. It sucks when it sucks, though.
Yeah.
When it sucks, it really sucks. But boy, when he makes some plays and when he throws that ball in that spot, it's like, God, he's good.
Yeah.
But like you said, you made a very good point. You could hear he threw for 600 yards and 5 touchdowns, and you're like, well, yeah, let's Will Levis.
Yeah.
Or he threw 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
It could happen, but I think his development will continue to grow, and I hope he has a great career in the NFL. I really do, and I still think he's going to be the number 1 pick, if not the number 2 quarterback taken in the draft. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I could be wrong, but I don't think I will be.
If you're an NFL team and you need a QB, I would not tell you to dodge Will Levis.
What's Hendon Hooker? Because everybody's talking about him being a Heisman candidate, but nobody's talking about his NFL draft. Have you heard anything?
I don't know. I don't really keep up with.
Is he one of them that they're like, well, he's a college quarterback, but not NFL? Like
that may be true.
But he's got size.
He's got size. I mean, he's
smart.
He's like 6'5" or something like that.
And he's got a cannon.
He's solidly built. I don't know. I'm not keeping up with who will go to the NFL.
He's one of those silent ones.
I'll tell you this, though, John. I'm drafting him in Madden 22. So just so you know.
I'll draft Will Levis then.
There you go.
We'll play against each other and see what happens.
I mean, I don't. But yeah, I don't know because I don't know who all needs a quarterback. I mean. San Francisco took Trey Lance. The Steelers have Kenny Pickett. The Jets are set with Zach Wilson for a while. I mean,
I don't know the teams, but I know there's about 15 teams that have a quarterback need.
Yeah.
Something like it. 14 or 15 teams that are looking to draft a quarterback.
You know who I could see wearing or taking Levis, though?
Who's that?
I could see Green Bay.
Yeah.
They struck out with their backup. Jordan Love's terrible. Aaron Rodgers is the most unhappy person you've ever seen touch a football. The whole time I was watching them play the other night, every time he threw the ball, it may not have even been a great throw, and he's shaking his head like it's somebody else's fault. He's miserable.
You know where I think he'll go?
Where's that?
I just remembered because I read an article about this. New York Giants, because they're looking for a quarterback, and he's from that area, New England area. I think he would be a great fit.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him go to Green Bay.
Yeah.
But I think the Giants is probably the most likely, depending on where they fall and if they really, really want him.
I mean,
because he's a rock star. New York's a great city. Like he's got, on top of being a good quarterback, and he has his issues, but he's also so likable.
Yeah.
Because of who he is as a person, and I think that's part of what I just like who he is as a person so much because he is just kind of an awesome dude.
He's like a drummer. Drummers are always like a little weird, wild.
Oh,
like a middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
A little psycho, but he plays QB.
Yep.
And he's strong.
He could probably play linebacker.
He probably could.
He's big.
I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at the Giants, the Packers, the Vikings. I would say are probably going to want a QB in the next class. Who else are we thinking? Do you think the Raiders are going to be looking?
They might, man. I don't keep up with the NFL.
I mean, they've got Derek Carr, but how much longer?
I'm thinking of David Carr. I was like, how long has he been in the NFL? But you remember David Carr?
No, I don't.
From Fresno State? He was drafted in like early 2000s. He was projected to be like, I don't know if he won a Heisman or not, but he's supposed to be like the best quarterback in the draft, and he's kind of a flop.
I would say the Broncos probably need to start looking because Russell Wilson up to this point has not panned out, and how much longer is he going to be in the league?
Yeah. For him, I mean, he had a good run though. He won him a title.
Yeah.
And he is a good quarterback, but It might be in row for him.
I really had a lot of faith that he was going to go into Denver, and
I hoped he would
be fantastic. I mean, I put him on my fantasy team, and he did nothing but disappoint week after week. I took him off, and I know that's not like everything, but just.
So how's the fantasy going for you?
So I won my first game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're in. I think I'm like 1-3.
Oh, and
the person that
at least you ain't 0-4.
Well, yeah, the person that I was in my matchup with this past week, they're 0-4 now. I don't think that she particularly cares for the fantasy because, she had Pat Mahomes, and I'm a quarterback away from a lot of wins. I'm having inconsistent QB play. Tua gets hurt or whatever, and so I offered up Alvin Kamara, Marcus Mariota, like several players for Pat Mahomes because I thought, well, I can fill spots with what I've got left. I need Pat Mahomes, and she took it. You know, she accepted the trade, and I ended up beating her by like 110. So we'll see how this week goes. I got a quite a bit tougher matchup. Somebody who actually cares what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I noticed that she had left Alvin Kamara in, and he was inactive the whole time. So I don't think she really paid enough attention.
She's just doing it to be part of the group, I guess.
Probably so. So we'll see how this week goes. But now that I've got a solid QB, an ace QB, I mean, I've got Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. I mean, they're pretty solid. Derrick Henry looks like he's back.
Good.
AJ Brown brings me a lot of points every week. I've got the Jags and the Eagles defense both, which the Jags have surprised me this season.
Yeah,
the Eagles have too, but the Jags more so because like last year it was just disgusting.
Yeah, there's a lot of off-field stuff went on with that.
Yeah.
I know. Have you watched Hard Knocks, Indy?
No.
I want to because they're doing the Lions this year.
Okay.
And there's a couple former Wildcats on that team. I think it's Luke Fortner plays for Jacksonville, though. I can't remember. I know he's doing really well. Like, they're high on him. He's a lineman out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
God, you know what I wish Kentucky had? Last year's offensive line. I think a lot of our problems go away if we have last year's offensive line.
I mean, you're looking at an Ole Miss win.
Yeah. But, ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Well, yeah.
So we're left with what we got.
Yeah.
So, looking forward to next year, which I don't want to get ahead. There's still a lot that can be done this season.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to be played, and there's a lot to play for. But, if we can find a quarterback for next year, dude, we get everybody back.
Yeah.
Like Kentucky, I mean, defensively, offensively, like outside of Levis and a couple other defensive players, dude, they bring everybody back.
Yeah.
If we can find a quarterback.
Depending on how you finish the season, you ought to have a lot of
a lot of
hype going into the next season.
If Levis gets drafted high, that Kentucky will have their choice of quarterback out of the portal. And I'll say that Deuce Hogan might not be a good quarterback. That's our backup now. Yeah. But I'm talking 5-star top-tier quarterbacks. Because if what's going to help Kentucky is if they can start being a portal for skill players for the NFL, that will help Kentucky more than anything.
Well, yeah.
Because with what Stoops has done, which is genius, has started bringing these guys from the NFL in as coordinators because they have direct connection and installed an NFL offense, pro-style offense, which prepares a quarterback to play in NFL. It's just going to work out really well for recruiting, transfer portal. They're going to have guys lining up to come play quarterback and receiver at Kentucky, which is two positions Kentucky historically have never. We've always had decent linemen. We've always had good running backs. That's something Kentucky's always produced is a good running game.
Yeah.
But it's always been like, ground and pound, hope you can get a lead and run the clock out kind of thing. Remember 2018? We had it okay. Terry Wilson was decent, but, it was give the ball to Benny Snell 30 times a game and just wear people out.
Yeah.
And that's how we won 10 games that year. Last year was much the same with Chris Rodriguez. Now, we had Levis and we had Wandale, so it was more dynamic. Last year's a 7-5 team without those two guys. I mean, that's just the reality of it. This year, I still say we get close to 10 wins, if not winning 10 games. 9-3 is going to be our worst because I really think we'll take care of business. Tennessee and Georgia's the 2 tough games we got left. And, if we can pull one of those off, it's a 10-2 regular season. 9-3, I think, is their bottom. Granted, bottom could fall out. Team could fall apart. We got some key injuries on defense.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. And one of our tackles got hurt. They think it might be a torn hamstring.
Mm.
Yeah.
That doesn't bode well for Will Levis.
No, because the thing was, he went down. What was funny is that Ole Miss fans booed him because he went down.
I heard about that.
And we were on offense, so I don't understand Ole Miss basically invented the flop.
Yeah, they did.
And their fans booed him, and he actually had a torn hamstring.
They faked more injuries than anybody else in the whole country combined. And to have the audacity to boo an offensive tackle for going down during a play.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, did you see the frat fight in the stands?
Mm-mm.
Dude, these dudes, and they're all Ole Miss fans, beat the hell out of each other. It was actually a pretty good fight. There was no security, and these dudes are just punching each other, welling on each other.
They're all Ole Miss people?
Yeah, they're a bunch of drunk kids in the stands. Yeah.
That's why Lane Kiffin wants out.
Yeah, because the student section empties after halftime.
Yeah.
And I think they did against
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Fighting in the first half.
Yeah, and I don't understand because you got a top 10 football team.
It's stupid.
They just won the Sugar Bowl last year.
It's stupid.
Or did they lose that? Did they win the Sugar Bowl?
I don't know who they play.
I can't remember.
Too bad we don't have these handheld computer devices.
I know, right?
But yeah, if Lane Kiffin went to Auburn, it wouldn't surprise me. But do you know what would surprise me about that? Is it seems like over the past...
Oh, Baylor beat the crap out of Ole Miss.
Oh. It seems like over the past couple of seasons of Auburn turmoil, all we've heard is that the boosters have their hands too far in. And would Lane Kiffin tolerate such a situation? Would he do well with boosters sticking their noses and stuff? It doesn't really have anything to do with them.
See, I think Tennessee has a similar problem with that.
That may be true, but
it's not to that level. But there's some, and I ain't gonna say names, but there's some people who have their hands a little far in.
And I think that they have. I think prior to this most recent sort of change of the guard in terms of athletic director, I think you'd be right about that. But if that same set of boosters that I think you and I are probably on the same page had a hand in all of that as far as they have the past several coaching hires and stuff, I don't think we'd have Josh Heupel because he wasn't a sexy name, right?
Nobody knew of him really.
Yeah, I mean he was in Central Florida. Why would you bring him here? But it made as much sense as bringing people like who was the Purdue coach at the time?
Oh God, that one they wouldn't shut up about who did
Joe Brom or Jeff Brom or something like that, or letting Mike Gundy come back in here for another raise, or the groomers.
The groomer, God, that one. Remember when everybody thought John Madden was going to come coach here?
No, I don't know. That's before me, I think. Isn't he gone?
He passed away, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and then Gruden turned out that would have been a bad hire because of what went down with him.
Well, yeah, I mean the racist comments, aside, he would not have been able to recruit clean enough.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, I understand there's cheating all over the place. They'll pretty much openly admit it at this point. Oh yeah, we all gave money to players to be here. How else would you do it? But Gruden would have done it on a Jeremy Pruitt level or worse, and just said, "What do you want? I'm John Gruden."
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I do think that it must have taken a step back somewhere because I don't think we would be where we are if that was still the case with the boosters. But Auburn seems still very much that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. When you made the last change, especially athletic director and all that, I agree with you on that for sure. Man, it's still exciting though. I mean, it's football season. We're in the thick of it. Both of our teams are still doing well.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to look forward to this season. And I've always said, Kentucky fans out there, just calm down. It's a tough loss. The way it happened, it was a gut punch. It's one of them you should have had. But let's just slow down on being down on this team and down on this coaching staff and down on our quarterback, because we're still at a level that we used to, 5 years ago, we'd only dream of being where we're at.
Yeah.
And now we're here. And, you're going to have these tough losses. You're going to have tough moments. But you're also going to beat Florida in the swamp. You're going to have big-time games, and you're going to have chances. We're going to a 12-team playoff, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Kentucky and Tennessee is going to be in competition for that playoff. As long as they keep recruiting, as long as this keeps going, there's going to be probably soon in the next coming years, Tennessee-Kentucky game might be the deciding factor of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Because they do play so late in the year.
Do you think that will ease up the fans a little bit? Like, as of right now, if you lose a game,
it's like the end of the world.
Yeah, because that later on you're going to have to play, like for us it's Georgia. You're going to have to play Georgia later.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the best team in the country, arguably.
Yeah.
And so you drop one to Ole Miss. You don't expect to beat Georgia, so your season's over.
And Tennessee's a tougher win than Ole Miss.
Probably. Because we get up to play that game. I mean,
it's just the atmosphere in Neyland Stadium.
The atmosphere, but also this is a rivalry game for us. Ole Miss doesn't give it. They don't care.
No.
They don't care about beating Kentucky until baseball season comes around.
Mm-hmm.
They're a baseball school. But do you think that changing to the 12-team playoff will help ease some of that? Because you're like, oh, okay, well, we lost 2 games, but you're still
in the hunt.
You're still in the top 12, so you can still play off it, and potentially the number 12 team could go on and win the national championship.
You never know.
The cards fell right. So I wonder if that'll help ease some of that up, because that's why I'm anxious, because I don't want that I don't want the first loss to come before Alabama gets here. I don't want to lose to Alabama by any means, but I don't expect to be able to beat Alabama, even if they don't have Bryce Young.
Because you in competing for the playoffs now in the SEC, you can lose a game and still make it.
Yeah,
but you
can't lose 2.
You can't lose 2 and make it. Well, we say that, and LSU won a national title in 2007 with 2 losses.
Yeah, but that's
a one-off.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen every year.
Yeah.
So, but with the 12-team playoff, now it's like, okay, because it's so hard to go undefeated in the SEC.
It is.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Even though you're playing, we're playing South Carolina this week. They're bad, but they're still an SEC team.
They still beat South Carolina State.
Yeah.
They beat by 40.
Yeah, so they can
50.
score. They can score, and they, look at Missouri. Missouri's probably the worst team in the league.
I'll say this, though. They did go for it on 4th down and kick onside kicks to get there.
Yeah.
Nobody else in the SEC would have to do that.
No. So I think Kentucky takes care of business. They're going. I feel like that loss. The character of this team is not like the old teams where you lose a game. Now, this has been the problem on our 10-win seasons. We get on a roll, we drop a tough game, and that game causes us to lose 2 or 3 in a row. Last year it was Mississippi State was the big one. We lost that game to Georgia. Georgia was the best team in a decade probably.
Mm-hmm.
But you went down there, you fought hard, you lost that game. Next week you go to Mississippi State and you get whipped. Then the week after that you come home, which I don't want to say the Tennessee loss was because of anything else. That was just Tennessee was a good team. But, you dropped 3 in a row that way. Yeah. If you could have bounced back, you would have only had 2 regular season losses because Kentucky should have beat Mississippi State last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the better team. So you don't let that Georgia loss affect your next game. You're 10-2 now. Because I think the Tennessee loss was just a loss to the team. The better team won that night.
Yeah, I don't think you could really factor in any mistakes there.
No, other than the blown coverage early in the game. No, that's really the only mistakes you can look at is
But you caught back up.
You caught back up. You had a chance to win at the end of the game, and you just didn't make the right plays. So I don't chalk that up like the Mississippi State loss last year, right? Because that was coming off an emotional game at Georgia. You just didn't show up. That's what happened. They didn't show up to play a game, and they got whipped. So you don't want that to happen this year with South Carolina.
Yeah.
You want to be able to say, okay, that was a wake-up call. Let's fix this shit and get on with it.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to see. I mean, what should happen is Kentucky should kick South Carolina's ass this week.
Yeah.
That would be the best thing that can happen.
Please do.
I hope so.
Please do.
God, I don't want to lose to them because they talk so much garbage this off season.
Are they still going on about Spencer Rattler and Heisman and?
Oh, how could they?
I mean, I don't know. They're delusional.
Yeah, they're South Carolina fans. I mean, they were good one year.
I've refused to watch any
ago.
Carolina jackpot videos since the season started because I don't want to hear him go I don't want to hear him backtrack or make excuses. But I just know that he is.
Like you want to. I mean, they're an SEC team, and you want to kind of like cheer for them.
I told you last show we did. There are teams I do not cheer for, and South Carolina is firmly in that
anymore. Yeah.
I will not cheer for South Carolina. I will not cheer for Missouri. I will not cheer for Vanderbilt. You might catch me hoping Auburn beats somebody, but no Mississippi State, no Texas A&M.
I think Mississippi State. I just go. I hate the cowbells, man. I think it's stupid.
You don't like cowbells?
I hate the cowbells because it's. I mean, come on. I don't understand how they're allowed to have those in the game.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say take it away from them, but God, it's so obnoxious. I just don't like it. I think it's because every time Kentucky goes down there, they lose. I mean, Kentucky has a hard time winning at Mississippi State.
You just got a big hate boner for Mike Leach. And I don't like Mike Leach either, but I've never...
big hate boner?
Hate boner.
You're the first one to come up with that hate Mike Leach stuff on the show.
And I don't like Mike Leach. I think he's nuts.
He's annoying.
He's annoying. He is one of those people that does absolutely nothing and brags about it, and then when stuff goes wrong, he throws everyone else under the bus. I don't care for him, and I'm glad that we never hired him, and I said that the whole time when they were talking about hiring him.
God.
I'm so glad they didn't.
I would have hated y'all so much worse.
Buddy, I might have hated us.
God, you imagine? What if Apple leaves and they hire him? Mike Leach is your coach. Could you be a Tennessee Vol fan if Mike Leach was your head coach?
I could be a Vol fan, but you wouldn't catch me listening to the post-game press conferences. You wouldn't catch me listening to the weekly press conferences, the beginning of the weeks, the middle of the week, whatever. Like you wouldn't catch me going all in on that.
I mean, at least he has like funny shit to say.
Sometimes, but a lot of it I don't understand.
You know who was so painful to listen to in post-game press conference or any press conference? You probably think of who I'm thinking of.
Well, I'm thinking Butch Jones.
That's exactly who I'm thinking of.
He was terrible.
He was the most dry personality. And like he's trying to do this thing where he's like being this like tough personality and it just come across as just so dry and there's no personality at all. Like he was very robotic.
Yeah, he said the same things like all the time. And there's a word, it starts with an R. And
repetitive?
Well, no, there's a word that he continued to say over and over and over again that all the coaches say it, but every time I hear it, that's all I can think is Butch Jones, and that is resiliency.
Resiliency.
He said it 4 or 5 times a press conference. He would say, "Oh, well, we showed a lot of resiliency," and I just shut up. You said that.
The man never smiled either.
Well, but when he started to get upset, like when he started to take his downfall, he went a little crazy. I'll never apologize for a win. And what he was saying was true. I mean, not all wins are pretty. This is the SEC. It's the toughest competition top to bottom. Even the teams that suck go other conferences and beat the hell out of other teams. Like, that does happen. I mean, and so what he was saying was true, but he was a big baby. He was a giant baby who was trying to act like a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
And I really couldn't stand Butch Jones. I was not one of the people that was like, I'll fire him after every loss. But, it occurred to me that he would not be at Tennessee much longer when he skipped out on that press conference.
Mm-hmm.
When he went in there for a couple of minutes, and I was like, well, I guess nobody's coming, and then darted out, and that really pissed a bunch of people off.
Yeah.
I wasn't pissed about it, but I was like, oh, you can't do that and stay here. They're not gonna let that happen. And then like Food Lion, they made those big cookie cakes every Saturday. It said Fire Butch on it. I thought, well, that's great.
Oh, I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, and I was like, where is there even a Food Lion? Where can I buy one of these? I guess I'd have to go to either Tazewell or Maryville.
Yeah, Tazewell would do something like that. You know, they just they're edgy enough.
They don't care. What do they got to lose?
Yeah, they're Tazewell. But we know we love Tazewell. You know, they're all right.
Have you seen the Tazewell police cars?
The NTPD on it? Like it looks like New York Police Department?
No. I didn't see that one. It was black and it had the thin blue line flag on it, but it wasn't it was just sort of an impression in it.
Oh, the ghost cars they call them.
No, it wasn't a ghost car.
It wasn't a ghost car?
It had the thin blue line. I'd have to pull it up and show it to you. I'm probably doing a horrible job of explaining, but when I saw it, I was like, man, that's really sleek. What does that say? And it has Tazewell written in sort of a script cursive font on the door. It looked really, really clean. It looked really nice. I noticed it coming down Rutledge Pike today.
Hopefully I see one and it's not being pulled over by one. You know, just see.
Oh yeah. I'll see if I can find a picture of it.
I go through there once in a while.
The live chat's kind of dry tonight.
I don't think notifications went out too well. Which happens. I mean, people get to watch the replay. So I see Jimmy's here. I see Mark.
I saw Dark Horse.
Dark Horse. I know I hadn't said anything back to y'all, but I do appreciate y'all being here. I know we got a couple people here watching. I'm really grateful that you're here. But I just, again, at the end of the day, like I know there's complaints and like, oh, we need to clean it. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to have competitive football. I'm happy that Kentucky's a team that is at least in the conversation. Now, the thing is, oh, yeah.
That's a horrible picture, but yeah, I mean, just, it looks really
That does look nice, yeah.
It's kind of sweet.
I like it.
All right, anyway, back to what we were talking about, football. Yeah. This is a football channel.
Well, it's all sports, but, you know, football's our big deal. That's what we both really like.
There's a better one.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. That's sharp.
I think so, too.
Yeah, good for them. You got some budget money. You get new cars.
Well, you know, I mean, what else do they have to spend it on over there? There's not really a whole lot going on in Tazewell, is there?
Not really. It's
pretty rural. Like, I love Tazewell. I love spending every second I've
It's not as rural as, like, you know, Maynardville or Washburn or Blaine and stuff like that, but, like, it is pretty rural, and it's a lower income place. So, like, Knoxville has, oh God, you know, with inflation and stuff, I don't even know what the medium income is anymore.
I don't know.
But
I'm broke.
Think like 5 years ago, it was like $50,000 a year. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm broke. Bless you.
Excuse me. Anyways, so just as an example, we'll say $50,000 a year. Tazewell's like half that, 25,000. So like it's a poverty level. I mean, there's people who's got money there, but you know, the most part, it's just a lower income place. It's kind of a small community. I'd say majority is like country, redneck people.
I really liked, you know, back a long time ago when you and I first met, I was installing alarms. I did a couple of houses out there. I did this huge plantation home mansion. I had like 30-something doors on it. I spent all day at that place. But I love the Tazewell area. It's open enough for me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then you get into Harrogate, get close to the border. Beautiful place.
I like driving through between the mountains there.
Yeah.
Well, you got no cell signal, but it's a cool drive.
It's a cool drive. It's especially on like a nice day. It's just so beautiful and nice to go through. But yeah, man. I mean, that's about all I had for today. I think I got it all out. Tough loss, but there's still a lot of season. I'm still proud of this team. I'm still happy with the playmakers we got. And
So who do you all play this weekend?
South Kakalaki.
That's right. I already forgot. Well, I think y'all should win that game pretty handedly.
You want to do some predictions?
Yeah, we'll do some predictions. Pull them up here.
Pulling them up here. Let's see. We'll start with Tennessee. Or no, we'll do
that. Let's do Tennessee and Kentucky last. We'll just look and see what all's going on this week.
I'm pulling up the ESPN scores. Sorry. Dead air. Okay, so let's start with this is an intriguing matchup right here. Number 23, Mississippi State hosts the Arkansas Razorbacks.
I think Arkansas ought to have their way with them.
Arkansas got whipped by Alabama, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but
But that's Alabama.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, I think Arkansas, they're a tough team. They're one of them physical, just tough teams. I think they're going to outdo Mississippi State, even though it's at Mississippi State. I'm going to pick Arkansas with you on that one.
Okay.
Matchup number 2, Missouri at Florida. It's tough, ain't it? While he's thinking, I'm gonna pick. I think Florida runs away with it. I think Florida played well against Tennessee. Who did Florida play this past week? I don't even know.
Was it Eastern Washington? Washington. Wow, Washington.
Oh, it's let's see.
Who played Eastern Washington?
Yeah, Eastern Washington.
Okay.
They beat them 52-17.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Florida runs away with it.
Yeah, I think Florida will win that game. I don't know if I'm ready to say they run away with it because I think Mizzou's probably going to play a little better over the next couple of weeks before they sort of come back down to earth. I think that I think them holding Georgia, even though we all just kind of see it for what it is, like Georgia just had one of those nights. Missouri's thinking, oh my God, we're going to have to do this if we just pull it together, because that's what a desperate program does. So I think Missouri will play a little better. I don't think Florida runs away with it, but I do think Florida wins by at least a score.
Florida's an 11-point favorite.
Yeah.
And Mississippi State's an 8-point favorite. Next game, Auburn at Georgia. And do you want to know what the line is?
Yeah, what is it?
30.
Yeah.
Georgia's favored to win by
Georgia's
30.
Georgia's gonna beat Auburn so bad, and what do you suppose the chances are? It's Brian Harson's last game.
Oh, do they fire him while he's on the road? Or do they let him finish the year? Like everybody's so fire happy right now in the middle of the season.
Well, yeah, didn't they fire like Tom Herman on his way out?
It was Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards.
Yes, on the field after the game. Like there's video of them walking up to him and firing him right there on the
Yeah, and Harsin has not been good. Like, and I don't just mean as a coach. He has misbehaved to he's a spoiled brat. He's a child.
Misbehave. Remember that song? Let's misbehave.
No, I don't.
20s, yeah.
But yeah, he's badmouth boosters. He went into SEC media days talking all kinds of crap about people. I know most of you all were hoping I wouldn't be here today, but as you can see, I'm still here. Like he's got a huge chip on his shoulder, and it's not doing him any favors. I 100% expect Auburn to fire him in the season.
Yeah.
I don't think they will wait. I don't know why you would wait. I understand the thought process behind fire your coach early so that you've got a little bit of a head start when you go looking.
So I don't think they will fire him like for losing to Georgia. Now, they're at Ole Miss the next week, and then they're home against Arkansas. I mean, it doesn't get any easier.
No.
But they might just go ahead and call it. It depends on how bad it is.
He loses to Ole Miss. Let's say they leave him be against Georgia. He loses to Ole Miss on Lane Kiffin's way out of the stadium. They stop him and say, "Hey, would you be interested in coming?"
So they trade coaches at the end of the game. Oh man, dude! Wow.
Is that at Ole Miss or at Auburn?
It's at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they took Ole Miss's coach on Ole Miss's field? I don't think Lane would leave till the end of the year because he does have a good season ahead of him.
Yeah,
like he could be in another Sugar Bowl.
But he could go ahead and say, "Yeah, I'd be interested. Just make me an offer."
Yeah, I pick Georgia definitely not. All right, next game, number 9 Ole Miss goes on the road to play Vanderbilt.
That's gonna have to be Vandy by 70.
Ole Miss is an 18-point favorite.
I'm surprised it's only 18.
I think Vanderbilt's going to win.
Do you really?
I think Ole Miss is their football teams like we're 5-0, we're unbeatable.
Yeah, but does Ole Miss lose games they're not supposed to?
Yeah.
Who'd they lose to last year they weren't supposed to?
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought they lost to like some almost FCS team early on or something.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
In my head, Ole Miss is just a team that just shows up and does what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And
Lane Kiffin is a good coach, but I need some upset this week. I'm calling it.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I think Vanderbilt squeaks an upset because not that they have home field advantage because more away fans show up to their field.
Well, yeah.
Did you hear what Tennessee's trying to do at Vanderbilt later this year?
Uh-uh.
They put out a thing. They're trying to get the Tennessee fans to go and checkerboard Vanderbilt Stadium.
Is that stadium even big enough for that?
It kind of is. It's a horseshoe, but could you imagine? I hope it happens. I don't like Tennessee, but boy, if they can pull that off, I think that's the ultimate. Like, I like stuff like that. Though.
If the tickets are cheap enough, I'll drive the 3.5 hours to Nashville to do it.
Now, I would only do the white section. I'd wear a white UK shirt, but I'd fit in.
Whatever. I got plenty of orange for you to wear.
We'll see. I bet tickets will be dirt cheap.
I don't know. I thought they'd be dirt cheap from Akron.
But that's a Neyland Stadium and Tennessee's ranked.
Yeah, but Tennessee's still Tennessee. You're gonna pay a lot of money to watch them.
Yep. So that's that. Texas A&M at Alabama. Alabama's a 24-point favorite.
Yeah.
I take Alabama all day long.
I think Alabama will cover that too. I think Nick Saban's going to teach little Jimbo a lesson.
I think I think Saban's been pissed. Saban's like, all right, and he quit talking.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's going to have his team fired up and ready. They're going to kick A&M.
They say Bryce Young isn't really ready to play, but I think Nick Saban will have Bryce Young play for at least a little while, long enough to run that score.
Whoever their backup quarterback is probably good enough to beat the hell out of them.
Did you hear he's the fastest kid on that team?
The backup quarterback?
Yeah, like faster than Jahmyr Gibbs.
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll go to South Carolina and number 13, Kentucky.
I think Kentucky's got that by at least 2 scores.
I do too. They're a 10.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
Kentucky's 10.5-point favorite. Yeah, I agree with that. I still take Kentucky with the over 10.5. I think they cover and then some because I really think what's going to happen, this team's going to be pissed. This team's going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're at home. It's a 7:30 kickoff. I think they're just going to mow over South Carolina.
Yeah.
Then we got number 8, Tennessee, at number 25, LSU.
I want so badly for Tennessee to win this game. I'm not sure about it though. I think LSU is probably better than that ranking says, and I'm not sure if I buy that Tennessee's the number 8 team in the country because it's so early, you know. And who have they played?
That's true.
That's my problem with it. If we had a more substantial resume, I'm all in on it. And I love seeing the little number next to Tennessee's name.
But Florida's not a bad team.
They're not a bad team.
Florida's not a bad team, so you can say you're pretty good.
Yeah.
You was able to beat Florida, which, for one, just the monkey off the back is the big thing.
It is, yeah. And Florida will beat most other teams that.
Yeah, Florida's probably an 8-9 win team this year.
So I'm going to say Tennessee. I'm going to say Tennessee by. I know that the line wasn't very big, but I'm going to say
Tennessee's favored by 3.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's probably Tennessee by 10 or more. Only because LSU has a real problem trying to score.
Yeah. And for that reason, if this was Tennessee last year, I'd be like, it's at LSU. And, your defense can't stop anybody. But with the improved defense this year, and Tennessee doesn't make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee.
There's not going to be a lot of turnover.
They don't turn the ball over, and as long as they don't turn the ball over and just play Tennessee football, I think Tennessee's a better team and they'll win.
It's kind of like playing Madden, watching Tennessee. It's like every drive they score.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's kind of fun. I wish I knew what that was like. I felt like last year Kentucky scored more. But Levis's numbers are a lot higher this year than they were last year. His completion percentage is like near 70% this year. So he's doing better, but there's always room for improvement. All right, that's our picks for the week. I have no idea how we did last week because our producer is out sick, so it's just us.
Yeah.
And he wrote it all down, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember who I picked. And of course, we didn't do We didn't do a show for this
past week.
this past week because I was on vacation.
Hey,
So.
you know what? Like I said, we always have an out, man. We're not professionals here. So
Well,
we'll take it with a grain of salt, but we want to do the best we can.
Yeah, well, I had every intention of taking the laptop and the microphone I had,
Yeah.
but then when
There's a hurricane came and you had to bail.
Monday came around and it was like, all right, well, we're headed back to Tennessee, so.
And I didn't say this, but like I thought about having the show anyways, but I was like, Tennessee's got a bye week. I could talk about Kentucky, but they just played Youngstown State.
Yeah.
So there's not really, it wasn't a whole lot to talk about anyways.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't like we were going to do a remote bring-in with Zach, like he said, but the hurricane and stuff, we decided just to put it off till we were actually, I was thinking about doing it later in the week last week, but just too much life stuff, got in the way. But here we are. We should be back next week.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot to talk about because who knows what's going to happen this week.
Yeah, this is a big week for both programs. So
it's a must-win for Kentucky, and you hope Tennessee takes care of business and keep going forward. So.
You're getting right in the heart of conference play now, and and you're starting to see like where your season's really going to end.
Yeah, this is like the first big road test for Tennessee, so we'll see. All right, guys. Well, we thank you for watching. We know not a lot of you are here live, but for you watching on a replay, please leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think.
And smash that like button.
And smash it.
Oh, wait, they're supposed to lick it. Who was going to lick the like button?
Well, that's Daniel, but he's weird.
I thought that somebody in the comments said
maybe somebody did say they were going to lick it.
They lick
you lick it, kiss it,
roundhouse kick it.
Roundhouse kick it. Ah, that rhymed. Nice.
I'm telling you.
Zach,
I told you we are professionals.
We are. You know what? I take it back. We are professionals and take it seriously. Now, guys, love y'all. Thank you for watching, and we'll see y'all next week. Go Cats.
Go Vols.